Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back finally for round 6 of our F1 2020 Let's Make McLaren Great Again series. Yes, I know it's been a while, but obviously yesterday we did the finale and the season review of the F1 My Team career mode. Obviously that has been our main focus on the channel in recent weeks, but today we are finally going to be jumping back in to the McLaren Road to Glory. Obviously, if you've missed out on the last one, obviously I'm sure there are some new faces to the channel. I'll make sure I leave a link to the full playlist, obviously if you click the eye at the top right hand side of your screens as well. Obviously, yeah, I'll be honest, I probably need a bit of a refresher on this series. We're still a little way off Red Bull and Ferrari. Mercedes seem to have a bit more of a clear-cut advantage at the moment. We're still trying desperately to get as many power upgrades on the car as we can heading into this weekend. Obviously, I forgot upgrades do cost a whole lot more in this series. So next one I'm probably going to be looking at is the reshaped combustion chamber upgrade as well. But anyway, let's dive in then here for qualifying. Here we go then, ready for qualifying for the, I almost called it the Monaco Grand Prix then. It is just the Spanish Grand Prix, round 6 of the season this year around. I'll be honest, it's our first one-shot quali in quite a while. So yeah, we'll wait and see as to how this goes. In terms of setup though, pretty standard, sort of fairly high aero. We're actually going to knock it back just a little bit. Actually no, you know what, we'll keep it what we were running in free practice. It did seem to work out quite nicely for us. So yeah, that is the setup that we're going to be running. Let's dive into this then. Our first one-shot qualifying in about a month in the McLaren Road to Glory career mode, but we are ready then. Obviously a long run down in towards the first corner. You can see Charles Leclerc already just streaking away from us, hence why we need more powertrain upgrades on the car. I have been able to get another one after free practice. It's just struggling a bit with confidence through the first couple of corners. Through turn 3 though, nice and tidily. Obviously, not really much of a challenge nowadays in Formula 1. It certainly was a few years ago, but the new aero regs, yeah, really have made turn 3 a whole lot easier there. Down in through sector 2, though, just trying to keep it nice and tidy. You can just see Bottas now tearing away into the distance. It feels now a bit weird not to be in a car that's capable of winning races after so much success in recent times in our My Team career mode there. But anyway, out onto the back straight. We're currently still sat in P8 at the moment, so we're going to need a good sector 3 if we want to try and get back past Lando Norris. Try to get the power nice and tidily through the kink. Avoid the curb there. Obviously, it'll completely ruin your run through the hairpin. And now in towards the new remodeled sector 3 of the lap. Much better than it always used to be. Let's just keep it tidy. Avoid the curb still through the final corner. A little bit loose on the exit. Down towards the finish line though. Where's it going to be? I think it's P8 just at the end. We got taken by whoever it was there, and unfortunately, yeah, it definitely wasn't first. Yeah, unfortunately, just that little bit of aero that we're running on the car cost us P7 right at the end there. But it is going to be Bottas, Leclerc, and Max Verstappen. That's quite interesting then. So yeah, there we go then. Crofty just talking in the background. So yeah, Bottas, Leclerc and Verstappen the top 3. Hamilton, Vettel and Albon 4th, 5th and 6th there. So 1 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari, 1 Red Bull. 1 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari, 1 Red Bull. Making up the top 6 as you'd probably guess. Both myself and Lando really do seem to be on the pace with Albon this weekend. But 5 thousandths of a second separating us at the end of qualifying. And then an 8/10 gap down to Lance Stroll there. Both Renaults in 10th and 11th ahead of Sergio Perez there. So it seems like the pace at the moment then this weekend. This track does suit our car quite nicely. Looks like we're going to be aiming to try and fight the guys in front of us rather than the guys behind. Let's dive in then here for the Spanish Grand Prix.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula 1 calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Should we kick off our conversation with George Russell? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, and Albon. Norris, Mr. Monaco, Stroll, and Daniel Ricciardo. Ocon, Perez, Daniel Kvyat, and Gasly, Magnussen, Grosjean, Kimi Raikkonen, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Latifi and George Russell ends our grid lineup. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. I'll be honest, not too sure if Crofty should be saying that George Russell's going to be worried about starting out of position. He's only 1 row behind where he would be normally. But we are ready on the grid for this Spanish GP. Fairly simple, as always, one-stop soft to medium strategy this weekend. Tyre wear shouldn't be too big of an issue. Obviously, it's just a case of trying to keep the rears in good nick. But hopefully we can try and battle Alex Albon. His race pace generally seems to be a little bit better than his qualifying pace. But yeah, if Lando and I can get a good start here, we might be able to try and get around him nonetheless. You know, we really want to be trying to fight with the top runners around these high downforce circuits. Obviously, we've got Spain now. Monaco next time out is always a great opportunity to try and make up some places as well. But let's just dive into it then. Here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Really looking forward to today's race. Round 6 of the season. It feels good to be back. And it's lights out and away we go. Getting off to a decent little getaway then in the end. We just about avoided the wheel spin as the big 3 teams cluster up down in towards turn 1. No real opportunities for us to go for anything. As Lando tries to look past Albon, we just shove Stroll out a little bit wide through the first couple of corners there. But it seems like most of the top runners have had a fairly clean getaway. Verstappen seems under a lot of pressure as Bottas still leads the way from pole, almost into the back of Lando there. I thought about trying to go for a Kvyat style move on the exit of turn 4. Maybe we can go for a Charles Leclerc style move around the exit of turn 5, but no. Just like real life, Lando Norris able to get the power down in towards turn 6. Heading through the bottom of the hill. I'm guessing I've got my corner numbers wrong because this is turn 9. I never can remember quite how it works around this Spanish GP. We have got a good little run though, actually, on our teammate Lando Norris. We'll have a bit of a cheeky send up the inside. And we're up 1 spot then off the start of this Grand Prix. A good little getaway for ourselves then. And yeah, up into 7th before we've even got to the end of lap 1. Now it's going to be more a case of seeing just how well Albon copes behind the cars behind him. It is obviously a very easy track to enter with a lot of trains, just due to the sheer nature of all the corners. But hopefully we've got a fairly decent package down the straight still, so we can try and defend from Lando. Good opening lap though. Let's get our head down and focus. Coming already to the end of lap 2. Bottas is 17.2 fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but already it feels like us at McLaren would start to slip into no man's land. I've got a 1 second gap to Albon in front of us. Lando only 7/10 back, but he's got 1.2 to Stroll behind him. Obviously remembering the real life 2019 Grand Prix, those two came together fairly close to the end of the race. But yeah, at the moment, we're just trying to see if we can keep up with Albon as we run a little bit wide through turn 3, rather unnecessarily.
Power from the engine is going to be down slightly and showing some minor wear.
That's not the message we need from the team. Clearly struggling a bit with the Renault power unit in the back of the car. It just seems to be wearing a little bit more than we'd want it to at the moment. But, I mean, the pace still feels good. To be honest, it's not too bad a track to have some engine wear issues, but we might have to try and get some new parts in for Monaco, which isn't ideal. Coming towards the end of lap 4, I'm already feeling like I've just chewed through these tyres a little bit more than I probably wanted to in the early laps of this race. We definitely don't quite have the pace to keep up with Albon on race trim at the moment. The top guys have sort of just bunched up together and are just dragging each other along at the moment. But Lando, yeah, about half a second behind us. Stroll another 2.5 behind him. so I don't think we're under too much pressure from the midfield at the moment. Hopefully this won't be a reoccurring story now in this series, that we're just sort of in a bit of no man's land, but it seems to be how today is panning out. Yeah, we're going to have to box the end of this lap though. I don't really want to hold up Lando if I can avoid it as well, but our tyres have seen better days, i.e. qualifying, so yesterday. But anyway, in towards the final few corners then, just try and keep it tidy through here. Obviously we normally seem to have issues with the Spanish GP pit lane, but hopefully not today. We are the first runner into the pits. Oh, clipping the wall on the way in. That just means we're pushing. But get it slowed down nice and tidily this time round. Hopefully we'll come out in a bit of free traffic. Clear air even. I wonder what free traffic would be like in Formula 1. There goes everyone else. We've got the Williams just at the rear of the field. 2.8 second stop though, not too bad. And yeah, they're going to fly past us as well. So we are going to be back out at the rear of the field. But now let's just try and cover off Lando's overcut even.
No more scheduled pit stops.
Coming towards the end of lap 6 then, we've got a lot of cars now into the pit lane. Lando has opted to stay out for one more lap though, so I'm guessing we got priority. He's been told end of lap 7 is when he's to dive it in. We're certainly not going to have got an undercut on the top runners. Hamilton and Vettel still just up the road. We haven't really lost anything to them, on the other hand, which is a good sign. But yeah, really feel at the moment like we're in a bit of a pace buffer. There we go, end of lap 7. Lando is now into the pits. Vettel, on the other hand, though, has been absolutely held up by Nicholas Latifi, which has allowed us to get a whole lot closer to the pair of them. Things you love to see, taking way too much sausage curl through the final corner. But yeah, Vettel now just 1 second ahead of us as we get into the DRS zone there. We should be safe from our teammate. There is Alex Albon as well, so we might actually be able to give him a bit of a run for his money as he tries to get those tyres up to temperature. You can just see sitting on the apex through turn 1 as we get a little bit loose and lively through turn 2. That was rather scary for a brief moment, but yeah, we might get sort of 1 or 2 chances at this if we can stick in the DRS of Albon, but I'm sure he will be very, very quick in that Red Bull once the tyres get up to scrub. We've pulled like 4 seconds, however, over Lando over the last couple of laps, so that's gone quite well for us, and yeah, already you can just see how early Albon is able to get on the power in comparison to ourselves. Come on, just get it working, get it going. Out of the final corner, the gap to Albon just under 1 second, so we are going to keep the DRS on him, but the other issue is we don't have much ERS in the car at the moment. We're probably going to have to just drain the battery as we just try to hang with the Red Bull. Once again, we're going to be pretty close through turn 1 and 2, but I feel like it might be just one of those things where if we can stay within a second, we can get close to Albon down the straights, but then we just can't really get close enough to do anything unless we get a whirly through the rest of the lap. Of lap 10, we're still just staying in the DRS of Alex Albon at the moment. Vettel is running away, and Lando Norris isn't really dropping back too much either, so clearly it is Albon, I think, struggling a bit more with pace on these mediums, but we are dragging absolutely everything we can out of our car. Just trying to stick close with him, see if any sort of opportunity opens up. Maybe he gets on the power a little bit too early, gets a bit of a wobble. We just need to be sort of 2-3 tenths closer through the final sector to be able to go for something. And this is the closest we've been to Albon all race at the moment. This is our best chance to be able to get something from this. We've just been pushing like absolute crazy over these last few laps. We're going to completely drain the battery as we head down towards turn 1. Albon's going to go defensive. We're going to go late on the brakes, and we've only gone and done it right around the outside of the Red Bull. He tries to have a bit of a sniff up the inside through turn 3. We're going to be side by side on the exit of the corner there. Great racing between myself and the Thai driver there, but we do finally make the move work. We're up into 6th place then of this Grand Prix. I don't think, very, very rarely on F1 2020 have I had to work that hard for a position. Now we've got to try and break away from him. Hope he struggles a bit more in the dirty air, as yeah, still got some engine issues, as that just goes to show how much we're pushing. We got yellow flags out towards the rear of the field. It seems to be one of the Alfa Romeos. I'm going to guess that's Raikkonen going slowly out of the final couple of corners there. Are we going to see a late race safety car here at the Spanish Grand Prix, or is it just going to be a virtual safety car? Only time will tell. It definitely seems like they've got a major issue with that car. It is Raikkonen, and it doesn't appear to be anything that we're going to get. So clearly the FIA feel that car is in a safe enough place on the middle of the front straight. I'm not going to question it. There we go, yellow flags out, so we don't need to worry about Albon for just a moment. There is Raikkonen. I personally don't believe that's a safe place to have a Formula 1 car dumped, but okay. Anyway, 3 laps to go though of this race. Albon is still trying to apply the pressure. And yeah, we've got a little bit more top end down the straights, I think. And obviously the dirty air on this game is quite important as well. So Albon just struggling a bit to try and get back round us at the moment. He thinks about going for a send. He's just trying to get his nose in our mirrors. But we're just trying to defend for all our worth, which apparently is 8 points. 2 laps to go then, and Lando is actually starting to take a lot of time out of both Albon and myself at the moment. I guess we're both trying to save the cars to the end of the Grand Prix, or perhaps I'm just slowing Albon up a little bit as well at the moment. But yeah, Lando's taking a good 3 seconds out of us in the last 2 laps, so clearly he's feeling quick. Maybe he'll be able to get back past us as well. Who knows? 2 laps to go here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Let's just see if we can hold on. On to the final lap then of this race. We've only got 1 real opportunity for Albon to get past us, and that is obviously on the run down towards turn 1. Lando is still taking about another 7/10 out of the pair of us on that last lap, so he's looking absolutely rapid. We've got no spare fuel, no ERS left in the car. We've given it absolutely everything today. It hasn't been the most action-packed race in the world as Albon tries to have a sneak up the inside through turn 3. Maybe this last lap will be a little bit more dramatic there as Albon tries to go late on the brakes around the outside through turn 4. We're just going to slam the door shut on that one there as we head down the hill again. But it has been a race of just dedication and graft and just trying to give it everything we've got lap after lap here to get around the Red Bull a little bit loose. Up the hill once more. He might be able to get a bit of a run on us down this back straightaway here. No, I don't think he's going to be close enough to go for anything this time round. We should therefore be safe in towards the final few corners of this race. Valtteri Bottas from pole position. He's basically, I think, led from start to finish this weekend. He's going to come through. Fastest lap as well at the end of the day. There are 26 points on the board for him. But in through the final couple of corners, it is another brilliant day out for us with McLaren here. We're able to get ahead of Albon after pushing all race long. It's P6 in the books.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Another Spanish Grand Prix is over, and what a special race it was. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes. So, let's review the drivers' standings. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ant, who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Our championship leaders retain their position, but their lead is shrinking. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
There we go then, guys, the end of the Spanish Grand Prix. And yeah, like I said, not the craziest race in the world, but some good, well-earned points nonetheless. And obviously that is exactly what we're after during Season 1 of this series. You know, we're just trying to build the groundwork. Hopefully, as we get in towards Season 2, we can really be a threat to the top guys there. But Bottas and Mercedes, pole position, fastest lap race victory. I'm pretty certain Bottas led every lap as well. They're a fantastic day out for him and 26 points on the board, as he has come to expect in this series there. Verstappen gets past Charles Leclerc for P2, and Charles Leclerc, yeah, like I said, in P3 there, so it was all of the less experienced, Verstappen is obviously the Red Bull's more experienced driver there. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, Hamilton, though, finished at P4, exactly where he started. The same can be said from Seb in P5. Spent basically his whole day looking at the back of the Mercedes car. One of the best cars to look at, let's be fair. But yeah, we came through for P6 in the end, just able to edge out Albon there. Lando Norris finishing up in P8, so we were able to get past the pair of those two, who still finished next to each other at the end of the day. Less than a second separating all three of us. It really did get quite close at the end there, as Lando even found some really, really good pace in the car towards the end of the Grand Prix there. Ricciardo and Ocon round out the top 10, making it just 5 teams that scored points this weekend, with both racing points just missing out there. Kvyat, Magnussen, Gasly, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Latifi and Russell there, with Raikkonen the one man not to make it to the checkered flag. Means in the Drivers' Championship, you can see Valtteri Bottas still on top by 13 points now, ahead of Charles Leclerc. Vettel still holding on to P3. We still just hold on to P4, ahead of Max Verstappen there, now just 5 points behind us. He jumps Lando Norris, who slots back into P6. Hamilton, I'd forgot just how torrid a start to the year he'd had, is now back up into 7th, ahead of Alex Albon there as well. You can see Ricciardo and Perez rounding out the top 10 there, with Raikkonen in 11th, Stroll in 12th, Esteban Ocon and K-Mag there, with Gasly, Grosjean both with a single point on the board as well. Leaves just Kvyat, Giovinazzi and the Williams yet to score. And constructors-wise, we're still 14 clear of Red Bull at the moment. Ferrari still 31 clear of Mercedes at the top of the standings as well there, but a 70-point drop back down to Renault in P5. It really is looking like we've got a fairly clear-cut top 4 at the moment, with Renault and Racing Point just sort of scraping the points they can just behind us as well. But thank you all so much for watching. It really has been quite good fun to return back to this series as well. And yeah, we will be back, I'm sure, very, very soon with round 7 of the season, where we head to the Monaco Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips, as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.